us. We are where we need to be, and that our inner, even if we do mistakes, it's not mistakes, it's for us to grow. So it took us to the points, and but through the lifetime it's been happening awakening of course.
Did you have teachers? Did you read books? How did you know this?
The teachers.
Or is it something you had inside you knew?
Teachers, for me, teacher, I had inside something is happening always, but I didn't like, no one has the answer. What is that? Like you have something inside of you, and you kind of like want.
I brought my crystal bowl tonight. I'm a sound healer as well. But my documentary, well, it's not really mine, it's all of ours. And it came to me one night, and I'm like, how do I do this? Because I've never filmed before. But the message was clear. We have a young generation that are on very high vibrational, and we have a generation that's my age that is in, like, I'm 50, okay? And I have also high vibrational young adults, 30 and 27. And we realized that the adults that are hybrid Blu-rays, starseeds, now I'm talking about our essence. We are vibrational, crystalline, light, high conscious, highly intelligent self-healers. And we haven't had the freedom to be aware of this. So, I called it Let It Be because the Beatles, that was the generation that created an evolution, a revolution. And it kind of, I don't know, got distracted with Vietnam, and then Agent Orange, and then fluoride, and that your teeth would rot out if you didn't take fluoride. And little did we know, my age, they were slowly trying to put us to sleep because they knew there was going to be an evolution. The change is here now. The purpose of the documentary is to help the other side of the United States, not to cause separation. We're very aware here. And when we can put this together, it creates a ripple. If we can get 100 monkeys in order to help the others on the other side who kind of heard the term indigo or crystal, they really don't know what that is for them on a higher vibrational level. We are just the meat suit. This is just our vehicle. We can go through matter, except we weren't allowed to practice it. Mm-hmm. We have telepathy, and I believe that's what autism is telepathy. And so that these talents, highly gifted young adults, can have the foundation to be how they're supposed to be, free in spirit. So if we have a cataclysm, the cataclysm doesn't matter, because you see, the meat suit will shed and our light goes on forever. So those on the other side of the United States or across the world that aren't aware of this, they get a little bug in their ear and it creates a little seed in their heart and they start blossoming. they're not alone. They're not the only one that's been told you've got a learning disability, you're not made for school, forget your talent, nobody cares. We're losing our craftsmanships. We need welders, we need automobile is coming back where kids want to refurbish old cars, but guess what? Our cars are all computer now. So we need to bring back the awareness of old craftsmanship. It's not always higher education. Guess what? Higher education doesn't prove you a job either. If you're doing what your hearts desire, then you're just the love. And that's what we all want, is the love. Love, right? So, that's why I'm doing this. It's broader, but it's not a lot of time here. If you're interested and you feel you have a story, you've been told you need to be put on medication, or you were told that you had learning disabilities, or you felt alone, you felt dark, you felt depressed, you have friends that are addicted to heroin. To me, those kids are reincarnation of Vietnam, and they came here again to try to create the evolution, and the foundation isn't here for them. So, let's all together bring this and bridge the generations. Yes. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay. Hello, my name is Rachel, and I've been helping Lesley-Ann with the documentary. I've been just helping her put it together, just kind of piecing her ideas together and helping her, helping to produce her vision pretty much. And it's been a very long process. She's been doing it for probably like a year longer than me, but I came in and we've been doing it for like a year together. And we're finally finishing up and tying up the last pieces of it, so that's really exciting. And we weren't even going to actually do my interview, but Lesley-Ann insisted, so here I am. It's kind of like tough for me to do this. I've never really spoken to a camera like this before, so it's kind of uncomfortable a little bit, but we'll get through it. So yeah, I'm quite introverted, and I've been so ever since I was a baby. My mom called me the cerebral child because I would just be looking around with really big eyes just at everything and hardly really expressing that much, mostly just watching everything and soaking everything up. And and I don't know when I started talking, but I don't know. But Lesley-Ann, she told me that I'm a crystal child, so that explains a lot. And I remember just always being quite reserved, and my personality, like, it was hard for me to make friends. In preschool, I didn't really care about making friends. I just kind of wanted to do my own thing and just go home with mom and hang out with mom and stuff. But it came to a point in school where I had to make friends, and since I didn't really care to and I didn't really know how, it was really hard for me, and I would kind of just take on the other person's personality, and this morphed me into a people pleaser, which was terrible for my entire schooling experience. I was always this way, and like that was how I made friends. And it wasn't till like after high school that started to change for me. But it wasn't until after high school and I got a really good boyfriend that helped me like be myself that it started to change for me. So yeah, that was really tough, and it was really, really, really tough in middle school mostly. And I remember that was also when I started finding out what an indigo child was and what a crystal child was, and I was doing tons of research, like after school, every day. I was looking online and I wanted to know everything about it because it really resonated with me at the time, and it helped me feel like a connection, like I wasn't alone, that other people feel this way too. So I held on to that really strongly, and I remember there was only one other documentary out there on indigo children, And I just thought that wasn't enough, and I would search and search, and there needed to be some about crystals, there needed to be some about like rainbows, like where all this, where's the information? So I remember just thinking to myself that, like, you know, one day I want to help produce something about this. I want to really like make a contribution, because I think it's really important for people that like are struggling in life and just with being themselves. And so it's actually quite interesting how this came about with Leslie Ann. You know, I didn't seek her out. I didn't know she was, I mean, actually, like, I didn't try to help her. I didn't put myself out there, of course, you know, like, look at how I am. But, like, so I remember she was out there looking for interviews at the time when I met her. And then a little bit after that, she was asking my boyfriend if he could help her edit everything and put it together, because that's what he does for a living. He's a filmer and an editor, and he's just way too busy. He couldn't do it. There was too much information, too many videos, and he couldn't do it by himself, and he's got a really busy schedule. So then she, out of the blue, she asked, "Oh, well, what about your girlfriend?" Which shocked me when I was with him at the time when she asked him that, and I was like, she wants to work with me? Like, why me? Like, this is really weird. And so, yeah, so then of course I was like really excited about it, because I thought Leslie Ann was a very interesting person, and I was really like, you know, I was really intrigued with the whole idea of indigo children and the whole crystal children thing, and I was really, really, really excited to help her. And so we started right away pretty much, and you know, it got rough a little bit. It dragged on for a really long time, and we had so many barriers in the road. I mean, the hardest part, I think, was just the copyright. It was just, oh my gosh, that was just a nightmare dealing with that. You know, we both have never done anything like that before. So yeah, we've come a long way, and you know, it's just like, I can't believe that this is actually happening. This happened, like, we did it. This is great. So I hope that everyone enjoys the information that we put out there, and yeah, I guess that's about all I have to say about this. Thank you so much for listening. Peace.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah.
Love you.
Yep, love you too.
We were out protesting, and we were out making it come about, because we were so devastated by the war. She was at the beginning, I was like at the tail end, where it had just been going on, and we were hearing just it was like a massacre over there. It didn't make sense to us. We're a generation where there wasn't any war. This was our first war. And it was a war that we felt we shouldn't have even been in. And our men went over there not even knowing how violent and inhumane it was going to be.
Where do you think your heart was when when this was coming? Were you a believer in peace, love, and flower child, that we can have peace?
Oh, yeah.
And you still believe that today?
Big time, absolutely. I even moved to San Francisco in 71.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, straight out of high school. I went up there, and it was all about...
I could see you with the flowers in your
definitely.
hair.
My Wohakan skirts, my peasant blouses, beads everywhere. I still have my silver bracelets. They were like this. This is what's left. It was so just, you felt like you had to do something. And then also, with that came the women's movement. It was a moving time.
The bra burning.
Oh, yes.
Man, that was big time.
All that protesting actually started with the Vietnam War, because we didn't understand it.
Do you remember People's Park?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
But it wasn't just American men. It was all of those people over there. I remember when that image hit of that Vietnamese child on fire.
Oh, on the
Oh
cover
my
of,
God!
yeah, on the
It was
cover of-
just,
yeah.
woo.
I'll never actually forget that.
Man.
That one actually burned in my memory, and I can't remember how old I was at the time when I saw that.
Well, that's probably why you're here now doing this, because it was such a violation of humanity.
Freedom
for
of
us.
choice.
Oh, the whole 9 yards. And then
But
also,
all wars are, and we still haven't learned that. I mean, the First World War, the Second World War, the Korean War, the Vietnamese War. I mean,
we still
and
don't
where are
get
we
it.
now? We're
In a
not
war.
in a war, but we are in a war.
Well, that's the illusion. I mean, we are, but that's the illusion to pull us away from our heart core of who we really are as individuals. And this is wonderful information, because that's the key that I'm getting to. It's the core of the individuals. It's a distraction so that you don't become aware of how big and powerful you are here and
on
needed
this earth.
here on
Yeah.
this earth. You're needed to bring a pathway in for a newer generation who has come with a higher vibration in order to be able to sustain being here.
Well, these are the children that we birthed.
Absolutely.
And we see their struggle and their pain. And I too remember being on the couch with my boyfriend in his parents' house, and his number did come up on the television, and it was unbelievable. I mean, it was like too real in your face. And then when he came back, he was empty. There was a shell. He never.
So it took his soul.
It did.
How could it not? I mean,
58,000 Americans died. 1 out of 10.
I have a question for you. You said you joined the Army instead of being drafted. What was the thought process for
Well,
you?
I was coming up with the draft, and then if I didn't join, I would probably be in the infantry and have to kill people, and I didn't want to kill people, and I don't think I've ever killed anybody in my life, and that's just always been proud of that fact. And
Wow, that's kind of heavy at 20.
well, at 20, I joined to be a medic, because you could choose what your occupation if you joined, whereas if you got drafted, they told you what you were going to do. So then, from Fort Benning, I went to San Diego, got on a ship for 30 days, went to Manila, and then we did in January of '68, we did one of those invasion-style amphibious landings, and we came up on the beach with all of our brand new uniforms and equipment, and all the old seasoned soldiers that were there were going by and calling us green seeds because of our green uniforms, and they were putting up their little short signs. I'm short and I'm out of here. And then the Tet Offensive started in '68 there, and we were just like a bunch of kids, and we didn't really know what we were doing, but you know, if you didn't do your job right, somebody died, and there were just thousands of people coming in with wounded and dying in '68. Early '68.
Our grounds, and we've got the Hot Rod show going on, and this is a '68 Super Sport Camaro, and our Indigo Crystal kids are actually interested in driving some of these old-time school cars without knowledge of why they're attracted to these old school cars. And the attraction is most of them, a high population of them, were reincarnated from Vietnam, whose lives were cut short, who believed in peace, joy, and love, and then got put in a jungle where they were forced to have to survive and even kill. So, they're here today, Indigo's crystals, to bring in peace, love, and joy as a new evolution. We call this the shift.
To take on a challenge of an older vehicle, because to them, it's a car. It's not an old car. It's what they wanted. Now, women in automotive is becoming bigger and bigger.
That's awesome. Well, it was amazing to meet you today. It was my lucky find of the day. Thank you so very much. Let's get an applause. Thank you.
That's where I am right now.
What did they throw?
Yeah. Nova. It's a beautiful boat.
So we wrote this book, which in its first edition was called Spiritually Healing the Indigo Children and Adult Indigos Too. And then when it went to paperback, the paperback publisher changed the name to Empowering Your Indigo Child, a handbook for parents of children of spirit, which I thought was very nice, children of spirit. And actually we had made up a song to go with each of the processes, and this one was, you are children of spirit, you are children of spirit, children, children, you are children of spirit, which we sing to the kids at the end of each session. And so this is not quite as effective as being with a facilitator, but it's better than nothing, both to work with your child, to work with your young one, and to work with yourself if you need the point of essence process for yourself. So all these things that have happened since, some of them fall into what was happening even before we did this work, which is that people tried, and I did as well. I wrote a book years and years ago called Golden Rules, the 10 Ethical Values Parents Need to Teach Their Children. So everybody who's trying to help children did so on a rational cognitive level. And even these days, I don't mean to say anything bad about anybody, but indigo, which was unheard of when we started, is now a catchphrase and everybody uses it. And with all due respect, some people use rational and intellectual, logical work and drugs to work with the children, but their woundings are not on a rational cognitive level. They are on a spiritual level. And this is the first, and as far as I know, still the only spiritual healings for indigo children. And we hope and we pray that it works for as many children as possible so that they can go on to lead fulfilling lives for themselves, not think that they are alone. You know, when we were kids, first indigos to come in, we thought we were all alone. We were pretty weird in our classrooms. Even if we so-called behaved, even if we learned well, we were different from everybody else. Now we've gotten up to 80 plus or 90% of the kids who were born are indigos, and they're being replaced by what other people call crystals and blue rays and all kinds of green rays, goldens, all those kinds of things. And those people are coming in to say to the indigo older brothers and sisters, if you just follow us and You haven't quite made it to 5D yet, but if you just follow us, you'll get there. And so the spiritual healing works. We know it works from anecdotal testimony for years and decades now. And so we hope and pray that people can come near to this healing, and children won't have to feel alone anymore. They will be able to fulfill their lives in the best way possible, and they will lead us to 5D.
No, is it going? My name is Sodi Orr, and I'm in the music industry, and I'd rather just like show you what I do instead of talk about it, because it doesn't do anything to talk about it. So I'm gonna just sickness in this industry slowly creeping into me. I need to find a remedy pronto. Head honcho at the label ain't feeling me, so looks like I'm gonna have to make it independently. Yeah, I know, but I wish I had a budget. I wish I had a dime for every time I started rhyming in public and people loved it. I meditate and concentrate on goals I am in touch with. My higher self get high intel of esoteric subjects. So what you wanna know about? The government, Planet X, pharmaceuticals, the reason all these kids are having sex, homegrown terrorists. All I gotta say is history repeats itself, so look behind to see what's coming next. It's why the USA got plenty enemies. Why the CIA to murder Kennedy. Why you feeling low on your energy. Poison in the sky. Poison on my fucking toothbrush in the form of fluoride. My pineal gland calcified by the low vibes until I took a little trip inside my own mind. Psilocybes demonized, but have another benzo. Then gather all the Adderall and sharpen up your pencils. But God forbid you ever did what I did. See through illusions when you live how I live. Nah, I ain't saying I think I'm enlightened, so you should be frightened, cause I ain't above the fighting. A new fire igniting, the crystal kids uniting to bridge the generation gaps and watch the future brighten. Obama wasn't lying, shit changed for the worse. If I keep saying this verse, I'm gonna be laying in a hearse, but it's all in a day's work, like keeping the people asleep over at MTV and stores feeding this meat that's receiving the evilest treatment. The rabbit hole goes deeper than Neil deGrasse Tyson and Socrates in a meeting. Started connecting dots I was seeing. Then my brother AP told me it all starts with the Queen of England. He said the USA was never freed from the UK, and honestly at first I ain't believe him. Till one day the sun turned to darkness and the moon turned to blood. Felt the buzzing in my body and my fear turned to love. Throat chakra opened up and I haven't stopped talking since. World going crazy, that's why I gotta be talking sense.
Yes!
That's for you guys.
Wow. Hi, I'm Leslie Ann, healeroflife.com. That's LESLIEANE, Leslie Ann. So, I've been working on this documentary called Let It Be, an inspirational movement. And the point was to bridge the generation gaps. I met Nancy Tappy, but way back in the early 80s, and this is her book. Nancy Tappy was the founder of indigos and scientific proof that color does exist within humans way back in 1970s. She is a pioneer. She is gone now, but I am blessed to have met her. In her last reading to me, she told me I would be doing something for the indigo movement and the generation that would come after it. I didn't know what she was talking about, and that was like in the 90s. So here I am. I started shooting this in 2015, and it's 2017, and it's still very much here in my heart as a passion to get this message out, and it just won't let me be until we finish this. I've been working with Rachel Honda. She is an amazing, young, beautiful woman who's going to make a difference in this world. She's been doing a super job in editing this film so that we could share it with you, the global people. No one's separate. We're all the same. We may have different skin. Our blood's still the same. It's just helping everybody reach to get to the message of the heart. Love is the healer, and from which I'm working with this documentary. I hope you all enjoy it or find it educational, of some support that would give you in your lifetime, or understanding you, or maybe perhaps your children to come, your grandchildren to come, or even maybe more of yourself. So thank you for tuning in. It's been an honor. It's been a lot of growing pains. But I'm really happy that it's near completion.
completion, and really, it is one life. Make the best of it and enjoy it and taste it and try to move on by the pains and the fears that holds us back from growing and loving one another. It's called Let It Be, an inspirational movement. Peace out, peace in. I'm Leslie Ann.
For several years, Nancy and Bev and I would get together and we would do this research together. We would talk, we would share, we would bring things in as we were talking, and then it prompted all of us to go back out to where we lived and continue doing what we were doing on our own. But then whenever we would come together, it would just enhance and inspire what it is that we were doing together. So through all of that, Judith Lynn and I were able to spend a significant amount of time together in Hawaii, and I really felt the importance of elders and youth connecting. So me being a Generation X, I'm kind of in between the elder world and I'm in between the world of youth. So I felt that was a very pivotal position, being in the middle, because of the challenges that a lot of the youth are having to have this way of being about themselves and be fully accepting of that. The challenge of being ourselves is becoming greater and greater and greater, with more distractions and more noises and more things that are keeping us from ourselves. So for me, I feel it's important to bridge the worlds between elder and youth, so that we don't lose our youth to where the world could possibly be taking us. Nancy always said it was very, very important for indigos to go into the future and to come back and bring the innovations and the creative thinking and the systems thinking in the future, to bring it back to us so that we could use that now. So for me, as a conscious indigo scout, having children who are indigo, I feel it's my greatest contribution to them and to humanity to honor all of the gifts that they have, and to really help them know from birth what their purpose is for being here, and help them to remember what their purpose is for being here. And to me, that's the point.
So whether you're coming in from the outer world or from the unformed world into this world, into this life, or evolving through various phases of your life, and eventually leaving this world and going on through to the next realm, I started to understand about the notion that we ride in on a wave of harmonics. We evolve in our life through a wave of harmonics, and we leave this world on a wave of harmonics. And so it's all about being harmonically aligned and releasing that which is in resistance to the alignment, and allowing the alignment which is naturally present to form and to express itself through our incarnation. And as we let go and let God is that form. God is what sings the symphony through us. That we are symphonic. We are expressions of the divine symphony in every part of our being. And so this was the first part of my training, I think, was back in the 70s, going through these very basic pieces of just following my life, following what was being called for in the world, in living my life.
So that just periodically went on. I felt very isolated from my peers, I often gravitated towards older mother-father figures, my parents' friends, and I made friendships with them. And along the way, I did meet certain parents who were also what you would call indigos, or crystal children. Indigos then. I remember when I was about 17 that I started to have visions of what was to come. Just for my direct experience, not necessarily world prophecy or anything crazy like that. And I was also experiencing some like clairaudience where I was hearing the voice of spirit in a very strong motherly sense, expressing for me to and not to go certain places if I was in danger. Now, because I thought I was delusional, because I thought I was schizophrenic, I would disregard these warnings, and I would end up going into the experience and foreseeing the bad instances happening frame by frame as I saw it in my head.
Who planted that seed that you thought you were schizophrenic? Was that from a therapist?
That was from the therapist when I was younger, because very briefly I told them I could see angels and demons when I was about 11 and 12 years old. I thought I was comfortable, and that's where the schizoaffective label came into. Now, going through that field, I created many masks for myself, especially around more darker individuals, that I shielded myself like them to protect myself in that instance, and my gifts were very much used and abused by myself and others. So, I mean, I believe that was completely necessary for my soul experience, but it took many years for me to heal the energetic damage that I inflicted upon myself, that I am still working on to this day.
Your passion?
I mean, my fullest identity is that of I am the divine child. I try not to attach too muchly to any other strong identities unless they serve me for the time being. But for me, I've discovered a tremendous gift of healing. I'm able to heal physically people myself. I've had my foot ran over by a Jeep, and they said it was a miracle that I still had a foot. No broken bones, like just very swiftly like that, and I'm able to facilitate that energy in other individuals and in myself. And I believe that's my gift. I believe that's my purpose as a healer. So, and I'm still finding out new gifts every day.
Awesome. Thank you for your story. I really appreciate your time. You're a beautiful being. We're grateful to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise.
So, are you going? Sweet. So,
Hi Cole.
hey, brother.
I'm Harrison.
Cool. Shot. So, I really feel like sometimes, maybe a lot of people can relate to this. Myself, be acting like a parent to my parents. What do you think about that?
I feel the same way. I feel like our parents, the baby boomer generation, is they never got a great chance to wake up to their true selves. They kind of were the ones that hit the sweet spot of the consumer industrial age. And I feel now, as I'm in adulthood or approaching adulthood, that I am realizing things that my parents haven't even realized or are just now realizing, to where you can't really put an age on that. It's just that wisdom that applies to the world in all ways. And I feel like there are more younger people now tapping into it than older people. And maybe because of the prescription drugs that block your pineal gland, or the alcohol, the culture, the lifestyle they've become accustomed to has kind of turned off those. The baby boomers have maybe been turned off to this creative faculties in their mind because of how society has chosen to go about. And I think it's our job to bridge the gap that has been created by society back to our source of where we came from and who we truly are, by just helping people realize that within themselves.
Beautiful. Beautiful, yeah.
I'd read my books cover to cover. I'd have my little book light at night reading, and so then I would sit in class and I would have another book in front of the book we were reading in class. And my teacher would know that I was reading something else, but every time she called on me, I could pick up right where she was, and it would drive her crazy. And so she came to the conclusion that I had a short attention span and that I couldn't stay on task, that I was too immature and I needed to be held back. And so I was held back in the 4th grade when everybody else went off to middle school. And I didn't feel like anybody ever sat down with me to talk to me about it or see where I was at until after that decision was already made. And I felt for many, many years that, you know, my parents didn't get me, most people around me didn't get me. So I don't think it was until I left home and went away from my family that I was able to connect with other beings that, you know, were able to see and feel these things. And so I felt like society and people around me kind of pushed that out of me, and I had to find it again and gain that strength again. And it's amazing to be in a community surrounded by so many other beings that are in touch with those energies. And then I was blessed with the opportunity to have a child who also is very high vibrational, and I'm so glad that I have that knowledge and that I can help to nurture him in a way that he doesn't have to lose that gift. And that's also something that I do in my work. I have a nonprofit foundation that works with youth, helping them to find their gifts and to share that with the world. And, you know, helping them to see that. It's called Soul Adventures Foundation because we're adventuring into their soul with them. And because we are all here for a purpose. There's a reason that every one of us is here, and I think it's so important to help people connect with that if they haven't already.
Have its way and say yes to it. Everything works for me. For the first time, I'm on a new chapter of actualizing. And when I was talking to it, I sat down, I gave up everything. I said, okay, I let go. I'll let go of my music, I'll let go of my art, I'll let go of my friends, I'll let go of whatever it is. I want to keep going forward, whatever it takes. I'm going to trust you. And I sat still, I waited. 15 minutes later, my friends came up. They took me to Stewart. They wanted to go to Stewart, so I said yes, talking to God. I get to Stewart's, I couldn't sweat. I went to my van, a guy walks up to me. He says, you play guitar? Play me a song. I said, okay. And I knew who it was. I played him a song, I played God a song. One song I could even remember, and the guy comes, he starts crying at the end of the song. I started crying, all these emotions. He says, come with me, and he pulls out this iPad. And he says, you have to take this iPad and you have to record your music. You have to put it on the internet. You have to do it. And I was intensely amazed, because if I let go of everything the ego wants, I started to actualize what I really want. And I started recording my music. I started learning how to use an iPad. 6 months later, I met another guy. He heard my music. I'm paying for your CD. And then he started supporting me and paying for me. And who am I really dealing with? Is it people? No. I'm in a love affair completely with my higher self. And is it someone else? No, it's actually just me. So I've actually accomplished my purpose mission, which is to speak the truth pay the cost. I'm different. I've been different my whole life. And I didn't want to be different. So I was trying to fit in. But now, do I need to be that way? No, I need to be myself and actualize my true fun. So I'm sharing this because this is the way home for humanity. I see your light, I see your souls shining bright like pure gold. Eternal life, eternal souls. We're stuck together, but together we are whole. I'm in love with you. Are you in love with me? Together we can live in harmony. I'm in love with you. But do you judge me, or can't you see we are one big human family? So what is love as we live this life? Are we even willing to face all the pain and the strife? So open your heart and open your mind. Let me into all the love that I can find. I'm in love with you. Are you in love with me? Together we can live in harmony. I'm in love with you. But do you judge me, or can't you see we are one big body?
Places. Well, I mean, for me, I found people that helped kickstart, jumpstart, and then suddenly I was doing kickstarting, jumpstarting for myself and for others.
Awesome.
And, you know, in my own way. But a lot of times, all people really need is a quiet place to just be quiet and to listen to the inside. And that's what places like Mount Shasta actually bring for people. That's why, you know, people are attracted to the water that flows right out of the mountain.
Too much sunlight.
Mother Earth, for what she's really worth. The story must be told that water's more precious than gold.
And why are you doing this?
For the 7 generations.
Tell me more.
Tell you more, I'm doing this for all life on this planet because I want life to flourish. And
is this a passion of yours?
A little bit. I like to breathe and drink water and make new friends and share with my family and
live free.
And there's enough abundance and resources on this planet to go around, and I'm looking for a culture and a way of being where we actually go back to the symbiotic relationship that, say, indigenous cultures had with the land. We're not sustainable. Our trajectory is really bad. So I'm doing this for my daughter and all children and all life. See, I know I'm gonna be okay because like Spirit has told me that I'm okay, but I'm doing this for you because I want you to wake up against the corporatocracy of our world and the sex and the porn and the drugs and the drugs and the drugs and the drugs that the pharmaceutical companies are feeding you. You're perfect, you're loved. Hug your neighbors and join something that makes you feel good and gives you passion in your heart, because that's how we'll change. One candle lighting in the darkness is better than cursing the darkness, in my humble opinion. Gracias, namaste, have a great day. Beautiful!
that I would be happy, and that if I was successful in their eyes that I would be happy. And I was working at a law firm in the city, a credit retrieval law firm for American Express, and I was just working, earning money, getting people's debts back and things like that. But I knew that what I was doing was not helping the world. I actually knew that it was hurting people, physically knew that it was hurting people, listening to people crying on the phone. And long story short, I just got fed up, and I knew that my life was meant for something bigger, and I decided to rob a bank to try to prove my point that if I didn't stand for anything, that I stood for nothing. And my friend believed the same thing, so it just took us vibing off of each other and our energies to just say that this was the right thing to do, that all we need is the money to get out there in the world and show people that this is not what they need, so let's just do it. And I did it, and I went into a bank and I robbed it. I got caught by the FBI a few weeks later, and my time in jail just showed me that no one in this world, nothing in this world can ever make you as happy as him and yourself, and that connection, that divine connection of being aligned with your divine purpose and knowing that you found your calling, that it's not here, no one can tell you that, oh yeah, if you do this, it'll make you happy, that's just their opinion of what they would do if they were you, or even advice, that's just someone's opinion of what they would do if they were you. And you can't go off any of that. You just have to look inside of your heart, ask him, ask the world, ask the universe what you need in your life, and it'll come to you.
Things. And now I'm here just enjoying it. I never really made plans for my life about where I want to be in 5 years. Everybody always asks that question, is when you get a job, when you're in school, when you're making a resume, for whatever reason, there's always where do you want to be in 5 years? I want to be where I am in 5 years. It doesn't matter where it is, I'm gonna be there. Everybody's gonna be there. And sometimes I'm getting to notice this about myself as well. When Larissa's getting ready, or whenever I was waiting for anybody to get ready, it's come on, we gotta go. But at the same time, it's nah, we don't have to hurry, we're gonna get there. And when we get there, it's gonna happen. And through that also, there's a lot of social norms that go with that. You gotta be on time for everything. And I haven't shaved in 3 months, so if I was back in New Jersey, people would be like, "What's wrong with you? You haven't shaved. You have to look a certain way. What's up with my hair? I haven't combed it in a while."
I guess personally, I do recognize this higher. I guess I can call it a higher calling to. I don't know, I've been with him, and then I've just gone into these moments where I just feel there's I just have this intuition, this someone's talking to me, someone's speaking to me, and they're just yo, Larissa, you're this high priestess, you're this goddess, and this feminine goddess energy, and you have to step up to that, and you have to take action, and you have to follow your calling. And the other night I was in the mountain, and there felt a little negativity going around in the bonfire that I was, and it's probably one of the gate openings where I was, because there's a lot of people that claim to be gate holders, gate protectors of the mountain, energy protectors. And so there was like some negativity going. So I just felt like at that moment in time, my mission right then and there was to do nothing except for hold down the space and connect with the higher beings, especially the beings of the mountain, and just I guess harness that energy and hold it for. I don't know why. All I know is that that's what I was supposed to do at that moment, and so I just followed that.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel like it was pretty successful. I don't know what I did or what was happening. I feel like maybe there was just like a significance on a higher level.
That you just listened, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what a lot of people try to drown out.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I guess it doesn't really matter what was the reason behind it. It's just knowing that that's what I was supposed to do, doing it, and just moving forward and letting it go.
That's awesome.
I had like a kind of mission upon this planet. I was about 15. I was in a public boarding school, Christian, and I remember this priest speaking and saying, when you do this, you go to heaven, and when you do that, you go to hell. And I began to feel me. For me, God is not that. God is love. Is loving every piece of creation. What is this about? So from that moment, without telling obviously my family and nobody, I began just to say, no, I have enough of this religion. So that was like a springboard, and then my partner was the second piece. And then at 33, I decided to celebrate my birthday on my own. I heard it. I started to develop more and more my inner guidance through all these painful situations. Which I'm very grateful about, because I needed to practice standing in my core, not depending on anybody else to tell me who I was. So I developed, thanks to all of them, through this pain, all my gifts even stronger.
A little bit. I think that was the first time that I felt kind of disappointed by humanity, you know, and I suffered from the time I was like 15. I can remember first feeling depression. And I've had different bouts of it. One bout in particular, I had traveled in Mexico and really saw people living close to the earth and celebrating the earth, and I came back to the US and it was so jarring that I went into this very deep depression, and I kept going around saying, my heart says go back to Mexico, my heart says this, and everyone said, you need to go to a psychiatrist. So I went to one, and they did prescribe me antidepressants, and I started taking them because I was at this point just so heart sick, you know, and heart lost a little bit. And of course, like most people, I think they made me feel really, really numb and really funny, and I ended up flushing them down the toilet. And I went home, and for the first time in a very long time, stayed with my parents for a couple months, and just had this pile of books by my bed that were all spiritually focused. And kind of realized, you know what, like my heart was speaking. And that was one of the first times that I realized, wow, we need to be quiet so we can hear our hearts speak.
I believe in the good things coming. And just say that every day. It's a daily mantra for me. I believe in the good things coming. So, yeah, I just want to let anyone know who's out there watching that you do have healing powers, and you are meant to heal yourself and heal the world and everything you do. And when you're walking down the street, you are powerful medicine. People do see you, and what you wear and what you share and how you speak and what you think is who you are. And if you think positively, then you radiate positive energy, and then other people are healed from you. So I try to just be the change that I wish to see in the world, because I would love to see people out here doing what I'm doing. It just inspires me to be who I am, and I inspire people.
Great Mother, I invoke you into this space. Take away our pain and fill us with grace. Great Mother, I invoke you into this space. Take away our pain and fill us with grace. Great Mother, take away our pain and fill us with grace. Great Mother. medicine. Sun gods, please feed me medicine to heal all of our pain, to heal all of our pain. No. We were meant to heal the world. We were meant to heal the world. We were meant to heal the world. We were meant to heal. Great Mother, take away our pain and fill us with grace. Great Mother, take away our pain and fill us with grace. Great Spirit, please show me the way to go. Great Spirit, Great Spirit, ooh. Great Mother Earth, please show me how to love myself. Great Mother Earth, please show me how to love myself. Mountain gods, feed me medicine.
I pray for your abundance and your safety and your guidance and your wisdom and your happiness and your protection. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. You're amazing. Absolutely beautiful.
I haven't heard that. Family? What is that?
I haven't heard it
Other
either.
gay people say it to us all the time, and they're asking.
Oh, you're in the
if we're
family,
gay.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, the
it's
gay
happened
family?
to me like multiple times.
How do they know?
I don't know. How did they know?
As they say, your little gaydar goes off.
It's only other gay people that have ever asked me that though, and all of them use that same terminology, the family. But yet I've never heard someone go, "Oh, we call each other the family."
Well, now we're expanding.
Yeah.
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 Expanding the
Or
family.
it's like Deanna's boyfriend. When I asked you in the
my
car.
best friend.
I just realized I've been filming for 30 seconds.
That's
so
awesome.
let's go.
That's awesome. Keep it going.
All right, there you go, guys.
Okay, so this is great. So hi, I'm Leslie Ann, healeroflight.com, and I have developed a documentary called Let It Be an Inspirational Movement. It's taken Rachel and I like a long time to get this edited. It's a 2-year project. It's near and dear to my heart. I have Ren and Lexi here with me. The documentary is about our new generation and about bridging it, and we can also say that there are unique energies out here, whether you're Blu-ray, indigo, starseeds, crystals, and rainbows. But the new generation sees no boundaries, no filters. They love freedom. They want harmony. They don't see sexuality. They see if you're in love with someone, you're in love with someone, and it doesn't matter. It just, love doesn't discern whether you're male or female. These beautiful young adults shared their experience with me. I feel very honored for that. The purpose of this is to help others, whether you're a young generation or someone that's my generation who is dealing with
what did you call it, Ren? That it was for you? Besides stuckness, what did it feel like for you?
Sterile, stagnant.
Sterile and stagnant, pressure. What I feel as though is that they will help others find it comfortable to be transsexual, transgender, to pan, to polyamorous. And I believe that's what the new generation feels, that if they can be just free and be themselves without all this monitoring, how much happier the generation would be, and possibly less likely to use antidepressants and anxiety medication in order to stuff down who they really are or who they really feel like they need to be in this world. So if I had said something that either one of you want to like interject, maybe I didn't describe it quite right, be my guest.
Transform our lives.
Because if you stifle it, it's going to make your life worse by not being fulfilling that need. And once you do, it's going to accelerate your life and make you happy, help you to become happier versus keep you in that downward spiral.
And you know, it's always been something that's really concerning to us, and you know, really intriguing for us to dig deep. What is it that drives us towards, you know, wallowing in our negative feelings? Why is it that we constantly think negatively about ourselves first and then try and think positively? You know, why is it that we have suicidal thoughts or our friends share those thoughts? Why is it that so many people feel lonely when we all feel this way? You know, if we just shared it and just talked about it, so many people wouldn't feel so isolated. They wouldn't feel like an outsider. And you know, if it's not just us and our friends and our loved ones and our family members, it's everybody. Everybody struggles with these problems.
A lot of people struggle with almost the same type of problem, so if one person brings it up, then they're going to feel comfortable bringing it up too, and you can relate and connect on that level.
And create a community.
Exactly.
How old, let's see, were you when you had an awareness of how you would describe yourself?
I mean, the first time I can really remember just having like automatic negative thoughts and coming from a place of like, I'm not good enough, people don't like me, I'm not what I'm supposed to be, was probably as early as like 7, 8, 9 years old. Is really when I started feeling that way. But I didn't think that that was something I should tell other people. I just thought, you know, I'm bad and there are things about me that are inherently bad and other people just are not going to like me and I'm just not going to be good enough to accomplish things. And that was something that kind of stuck with me into young adulthood through adolescence. And it's only something that I've started to work on in the last maybe 2 years. So I feel like if I had known that whole time that other people felt the same way, whether it be about their appearance or about their, you know, knowledge, about their social ability, about their, you know, anything, just to know that other people also felt that they were not good enough, they were not okay. You know, it bothers me at the age I am now to see so many friends that go, yeah, I struggled with that too. Yeah, I, you know, attempted suicide. Yeah, I went through this period of my life, you know, where I was addicted to drugs or homeless or did anything that wasn't serving their true self and, you know, helping them progress. And it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get somewhere. It just matters that you keep trying to go.
Suicide was always imminent on my mind, and I always, you know, really struggled with how to connect with people, how to connect with the world around me, because it was so different from my own inner experience. And then there was a point after college, going through the whole schooling process, where I felt completely suppressed and repressed, and like I'd been wearing a mask my entire life. And I thought I was going absolutely crazy. And I got a degree in music, and you know, my family thought I was gonna go off to grad school, and they thought I was gonna go off and be this college professor with a doctorate degree, and you know, make my way in society. And I could not do it. There is just this huge mask that I had worn my entire life, and I was ready for it to just fall down. So upon graduating college, once I finished up everything, on the verge of going to grad school, said, okay, I'm not doing this. I am leaving everything behind, and I'm going to go live on a farm and connect with the earth, because that's the only thing that really feels right, is to connect with the earth and to get in touch with the most pure of energy that I possibly can, because that feels most like home to me. It's what feels a match to my own inner experience, and I need to connect with that and bring that forth.
At pretty much everything except, just trying to create a human connection, which I apparently also was pretty terrible at. So yeah, I was told by my friends, I was told by my teachers, by my, this psychiatrist. I'm from Denmark, so I don't speak that well English, but that being without center and not fitting in anywhere.
Did he try to give you medication?
Yes and no. I self-medicated a bit, smoking a lot, and so that was mainly trying to get out of that. And in Denmark, they're actually pretty good at not giving too much medication. Yeah.
So how did you know that you were meant for a greater purpose? When was the moment that you went, aha, now I know, I'm on the right track for myself?
It's been a gradual procession, but I think I really knew it when I've had a few near-death experiences. I've been close to drowning and falling off big cliffs, and that kind of led me on the track of doing self-medicate, or I figured out that I could do death meditations by myself. Really put myself, when I was sort of young, maybe 17, I went down in my room and locked the door and just really put myself in all the steps, very how would it be if I knew I was gonna die tomorrow? And really allowing myself and allowing to feel the pain and to feel the unsatisfaction about not being able to do all the things I wanted, travel, the places I wanted, meeting the people and finishing my relationships. And these death meditations, or putting myself in the space of thinking that I would die, really put some perspective on what I felt was important in my life, and made me want to be more real with my family, with my friends, and to really try and see the beauty in the small details of life, like the meal that I'm eating, trying to smell the food and trying to really let it sit in my mouth and taste it, because the pleasure is only above the tongue when you eat food anyway. And yeah.
So the pleasure in life is possibly being in the moment for you. It's tasting life.
It's really tasting life. It's experiencing life, and just it's different for everyone. But for me, it's breathing, taking a step back, and just sometimes closing my eyes and just feeling the different sensations. Is it bad, unpleasant sensations, or is it really delicious sensations that goes through my body? It's okay, and then to really just seeing the small details and appreciate the small things in life.
So how do you feel about yourself now?
Now I feel, sometimes I feel like I can do anything.
anything in my life. And other times I'm like, it's really hard. A lot of pain. The more sensitive I get, the more pain I also feel. Yeah. But at the same time, the more beauty I feel. It's like the one as above, so below, and it's just like expanding the ways of feeling, and it just makes life more and more simple and more complex at the same time.
Awesome.
But I really get to do and have focus on to do what I really feel called to. I really touch in and ask myself, like, do I actually really want to do this? You know, do I really want to hang out with these people, or do I really want to eat this food? Do I really want to go there? And so I really get to do what I want to do, and I'm not so scared to hurt other people by saying I'm gonna go this way. I need to go.
Words definitely mess up just like communicating with one another, because if everybody was higher in consciousness and just could feel the vibrations and understand vibrations from one another, then there would be no need for words, and you wouldn't have a thing called miscommunications, because you could just understand them because they're sending off that thought straight out of their mind, so it's 100% true. And so when you misunderstand someone, it's because they say something and you don't completely get the point of what they're trying to say, because you're not on the same vibrational level as that person, or you could be, but you just didn't understand them. And that's why words are just shouldn't be a thing, and we should all just be able to feel the vibration from one another and understand how they think and be on the same level as them.
And you're a part of that nature that comes from the earth. You know, you're perfect already as you are, and it's, you know, to see that, to recognize that in something else, it's beautiful. And, you know, I absolutely love that. And I feel, you know, one of my core messages is to tell people, you know, that they're not alone, that there are other people out there like me who, you know, before, when I didn't know about this stuff, I was wondering, you know, is there something wrong with me? Why am I not hanging out with my friends? Why do my friends and my social group are at my age? Why don't they, you know, resonate and see this on the same level?
You hit the nail right on the head.
And it's just...
That's exactly why I'm doing this.
Yeah, and it's just like, I just want to know, I just want to spread my message out there that you're not alone, that there's people out there like you, and, you know, I'm meeting other people out there who are like me, and it's a great thing, and, you know, everything just clicks, and, you know, it brings affirmation that you're here for a reason, that, you know, even though the world may look dark at some times, there's a shining, radiant light coming out. It's waiting to burst into the open, waiting for you to see it.
I am Cole James Rios Miller, and yes, I feel like I'm here for something, that's for sure. And it was very, very, very evident at an early age. And then Babylon came, and basically I agreed to follow a mindset that's not healthy, and now I'm breaking out of that and starting the purpose, starting to live more, starting to play more music, starting to heal the body, starting to give thanks to something greater, and starting to open up to this thing called love. Because love is going to heal the world. It already is. And I am love, and you are love, we are love. It's not just sex. It's not just I give you a compliment because you're my wife and I love you. That's not love. You know, love is way, 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 way deeper than the superficial love that's basically propagandized to us through mainstream media, through movies, and through all that. So I highly recommend you dig deeper, you know? You close your eyes and be still until you feel that this love is real. And I'm confident, you know? I'm very confident that everything is going very, very, very well. Even though what just happened in Paris, even though what happened 9/11, after 9/11, all the wars and all of this shit that's going on, it's all a distraction, you know, it's all a set-up game. It's all a puzzle game. It's all basically a chessboard. And both sides are controlled by the same entity. So don't give energy to that shit, you know. Don't give energy to terrorists, to politicians.
Coming in for an interview, it might take a while to bring a book. Well, the owner of Yaks at that time, she's still the owner of Yaks, now we're was Yaks, but she looked at me and she said, hey, I want to interview you first, come with me. So I get the first interview and she pulls me and she said, Andrew, why do you want to work for Yaks? I had no good reason. I'd never been to Yaks before, so I just told her my experience of like what happened and why I want to do coffee, and she stopped me in the middle of my story and said, oh my God, listen to my story. And her vision was exactly the same. She wanted to use coffee to, and her vision is to the frail, forsaken, and forgotten. And that was really what was on her heart. So we had a very similar image. So within 6 months of working for them, an opportunity to come to Shasta just opened up. She said, you know, I'd never done coffee before, I'd never done a restaurant before, but within 6 months I was managing a store in Reading, and she gave me an opportunity to come to Mount Shasta to help her build and open a store. Well, at first I was like, man, I have such a chill life right now. I'm working 5 days a week, I ride my bike to work, I got lots of friends in Reading, so I was like, I don't really want to do it. But it wasn't until I talked to my friend from Sweden, and he just woke me up, he's like, Andrew, like, who in 6 months gets an opportunity to go build a store on somebody else's dime, get all this experience, go and have this opportunity? Like, you would be stupid not to take it, especially since you want to do small business in the future, and you know, the rest of my vision that he knows about. So I said, okay, doing it. So packed up my life in Reading in 2 days, came up here with just some clothes, and started building the store. And I just was blown away by the beauty of this place. I couldn't believe what I fell into. And I managed it for 3 years, helped Yaks build a restaurant in Dunsmuir, came back up after management fell through here, after thinking I didn't ever want to do management ever again. And I started managing, and then I had this passion to own it. I was like, well, I can own this place. So even though it was different than my original vision of like, let's go to Columbia, let's start a coffee farm, let's bring in street kids off the street, you know, which was immediate, I feel like God said, you know, follow peace, and let's take you on a journey to get there. So that's what I really have seen Mount Shasta, the coffee shop, and owning a business as being, as this is all training. This is all just, and what better place to do training than Mount Shasta? This kind of coffee shop with people coming from all over the world. I just can't believe how he set me up. I mean, I get to walk to work. I live a block away. I'm married now, have a kid on the way. Like, my boss and me always told each other when we came up here, we said, we have no idea what God's doing. Like, we're doing it, like we're sweeping floors, we're pulling shots, but we have no idea what is gonna happen up here. And in 4 or 5 short years, I own a business, I am married, I have a kid on the way, and I live in like the most beautiful place in the world. My brother's here now, my cousin's here now. I have the best coworkers. They all work for me, my brother and my cousin. and now I'm getting to partake in next door. Like I get to do something in that space, like the best corner in Mount Shasta. So I guess like the overall message that I would like to encourage whoever eventually sees this is like, you know, number one, follow peace. Like follow the peace to your heart. It's gonna take a lot of hard work, but at the same time, like when you get focused in on the moment of like when because I've had the most intense revelations just sweeping the floor. Like just at night after a long day, just sweeping into my little basket. Like I've had, you know, times where God has just met me in crazy encounters of love there. But it's step by step, you know. I think a lot of people think, I got this big vision, it's gotta happen now, let's go, let's do it. And when it doesn't happen right away, you get frustrated. You think, oh, I'm on the wrong path, and you go and do something else. Well, it's a process, you know, and maybe this is just my story, so it could be different for anybody else. But, you know, I have, you know, done the simple things: pull a shot, wipe a table, you know, lock the door before I go, tell somebody how to like pull a shot, tell them not to do it that way, do it this way. And it's all been minor, little, tiny things, but it's progressed me so fast to where, you know, 5 years is not a long time, and so much has happened.
Like every day, that's how I'm happy, you know, just being present. And it's just even just sitting right here in the grass. It's windy, it's a beautiful day outside. I'm getting to talk on camera, which is kind of neat. I mean, I'm happy about that, and I have no reason not to be.
Awesome.
And that comes back to what I was saying about success being relative. If I'm happy, to me, that's successful.
And I think that's key right now for your generation, is to be able to find happiness within, because my generation are the ones that have been checking out and don't really know. You guys are dialed in
the past and the future, and you're not there in the present. And you wonder why people are all on drugs these days, because they're trying to find that present happiness, I think. And I mean, it's a shame to say that, but
it's the truth.
It's the truth, yeah. I mean, where were all the antidepressants and Xanax and stuff like that? And back in the day, you know, they didn't have that. They just dealt with it. So that is one of those sort of disadvantages, I think, of today. We looked too much for crutches to just get...
Work for 40 years for 40% of your, you know, retire on 40% of your income. And that's pretty much it, and you make a certain amount.
So let me ask you, does that feel like you're living?
No, so when I was going through elementary school and school and everything, I always felt like I was, I guess, special, but not in, you know, any sort of weird way, but I just thought I was different than everyone else. I thought I saw like the beauty in things, and I couldn't really talk about it because no one really understood. And
let me just interrupt you there.
Yeah.
That is key when with these crystal children like you guys. I don't like to use the word children, but that's what it's been. I like to call you crystal young adults. And the thing is, they inside feel different. They each know that they have a great mission, but they don't have the support as community. And that's what this is about, is to bring awareness, to bring all of you that have this great sense that you're here for a bigger purpose. And to create a community so that you don't feel alone. Like you can have like meetings and, you know, live in like an apartment complex where then it becomes a community living than organic farming. And you guys will probably practice medicine differently. You'll be herbalism, and you'll have, you know, different ways, more natural techniques. So with Harrison expressing that he felt different, he innately knew, even though he felt he was wiser to get around the cliches. Flashlight, tell me a little bit more about how you felt, your purpose, your desire, your passion.
Well, I just feel like I just constantly am looking around for signs, and they're all there. You just gotta look for them, you know. And it just, I think a problem with maybe our generation is that we just quit looking. Like there's technology, there's ways to distract your mind, television, and then if you just take a step back and just take a little time in nature, then you'll just realize that there's a bigger picture for everything, you know?
I completely agree with you. One defining moment in my life was reading the book The Alchemist, and that completely changed my viewpoint about science and the fact that the book even just states that as a child your eyes are almost open because you see everything around you in a different light, an innocent light, and then you grow older and these sets of reality hit you where you feel like you can't accomplish your dreams and your aspirations because bills, because this, because that, and then what happens when you get older, you just get flooded with all these everyday issues instead of realizing your purpose is greater than this. You have a divine kind of purpose. You have a fate, you have a reason, and to ignore that reason or that fate would be just kind of ending, like you said, you're kind of dying, you're not growing, you're not doing what your fate would be.
And this is the whole reason why I'm doing this documentary, is for those of us that are hybrid Blu-rays that came through the Stargate are now finally awakening because we have kids that are so highly evolved energetically.
Yes.
that their energy is forcing those to awaken to their higher self.
Absolutely. Yeah, my daughter is, someone told me once she was a rainbow child.
Absolutely she is.
Both of my
She's a
kids are
Blu-ray rainbow
Blu-ray
child.
rainbow. I'll have to look at what that is.
Yeah.
But it is true though, because when I announced my departure from the company that I worked for 11 years, and I had a picture of my truck and my RV and told them that I'm traveling across country, everyone was first blown away that someone as conservative as me would have sold my house and had been lived a life of should do, must do, have to do's, to just go, nope, I am sold everything I own and just breaking free from what I was told how I needed to live my life. People were shocked. I mean, blown away, shocked. But on the other hand, they're all like, wow, I want to do that too. So they're all on their edge of their chairs going, wow, if you can do it, I can do it. And I'm meeting people along the way, women in particular, that, they see me with my RV and they're all nervous about, wow, can I do that? My little travel trailer. They're like, yeah, you can. And so it's interesting, how many times I've showed it, how many other women I've inspired to go off and run away from home like I am to try to do the same thing. And how many people from my corporation keep trying to keep in touch because they really want to do the same thing too. They're all ready to bust loose because the company has and find themselves too, because life is short. You don't know when your number is going to come up, and my mother died at 51. Oh. And that had a lot to do with this, because I don't know when my number is going to come up either, and you don't want to have regrets, and you can't do it over.
There you go. Okay, I think it started in elementary school when I felt like I didn't fit in. Had a hard time making friends, keeping friends. Saw things a lot. At my girlfriend's house, I saw spirits and doors slam, and I've always seen things like that. Just kind of put it to the wayside. And then I got older, and I think I had a lot of negativity in me, and I've lost those intuitive things that I could do before. And now I'm sick and trying to get my life focused,
Every time we start to talk and get into something, the atmosphere, the space around us has been magnetizing all of this chaotic sound, and it's fascinating so if I look at it from the perspective that there's a oneness to everything. One way I'm considering interpreting this is that as we focus more directly and strongly on holding the light and holding the high vibrational expression of love, then it calls forth anything that is not in harmony with that to rise to the surface so that it can be expressed and then released. And that's the important part, is that we don't get rid of it by turning away from it. It shifts when we allow it presence to be, we acknowledge it, and then it expresses itself and it gets it over, it gets done with it. When an expression happens, it's done. And underneath, the truth is that we are love. We are an expression of divine love. That God is within and God is expressing through all of this. And this is the realm of duality that we're in. And that in duality, it contains all of everything. And if we can step into the largest part of ourselves, we can become so big. We can expand our hearts and hold such a huge space that we can hold the space for the swing between the polarities, between light and dark, and sound and silence. We can expand and hold the presence into that much larger space. And
isn't that
that's
a
the call.
song? Sound of silence.
Silence, yes. It's a song, Sound of Silence. So,
do you know where they came from?
God's source energy flowing through me and out into the world via my gifts and talents. So, Mount Shasta was on the bucket list, and here I am.
Tell me about your gravitation to pyramids and high energy.
I was watching the History Channel on pyramids, and I became fascinated with the energy of it and started to research it on the internet.
Would you say it kind of awakened something within you, deep within you?
It did. It awakened a part of me I didn't know was there, an energy.
So I love the outdoors. I love doing something creative. So it just didn't fit. Being on a computer and at a desk all day wasn't working for me. And then I moved to another admin position, and unfortunately I stayed there for a year and then left to go to a lavender farm. And I worked there for about 4.5 years. I taught lessons, did farmers markets, helped make product, harvest. I helped do their photography. I taught distillation classes. I helped out with yoga retreats and providing a little bit of spiritual guidance through that. But it was mostly taking a walk through the labyrinth and meditating. And then I found this. Things at the lavender farm started going downhill. They started kind of being more corporate, and unfortunately I wasn't fitting in anymore. So sandcastles is a very creative form, and I love working with all different types of people and teaching them just how to have fun and play in the sand.
Where can people find you?
So we're here in Del Mar, just on the Del Mar beach, and we do lessons 7 days a week, sometimes 3 lessons a day. So
I seem to have just, what's the word I'm looking for? Like we cudgeoned ourselves and put ourselves in little boxes and machines to skitter around, quite unaware, or I don't want to say inured, but self-inured, or forgetting how beautiful it is if we just let it be, stop the car, get out, dance in the rain. So belonging, sure, but maybe out of sync. So that's why I created a music project to kind of look for all those rhythms and the mythopoetry from all world cultures that are hinting back to the source, like parables.
Right. When did you realize, Deborah Sue, that you wanted to be an acupuncturist? What?
Well, I'll even go back to that first question, which is, I remember when I was 5 going, I'm not sure this family, this culture is mine.
That's exactly a Blu-ray comment.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it was dissonant as a kid because sometimes it was not always a collective feeling. But as I matured and I realized that I had to find my own ways, like I felt like an old soul or a Buddhist in the middle of a New York Jewish cultural upbringing, and I recognized that I had to follow some inner voice and to decide how I would explore my expressions of giving back. And Chinese medicine felt resonant because that one sentence that I'd heard of energy preceding matter was so, it was like door open. That's exactly what I feel, like we are energetic beings first.
Looking fabulous.
And
how are you?
all of this
Well,
fits somehow together, and studying nature, and that we are nature, and the metaphors of nature as who we are and how we are. that rings for me. And it's still a journey. I'm not done.
No, I understand that it is still a journey. Now here's an example of two beautiful Blu-rays, star seeds, that agreed to come through the Stargate. I believe that you guys had a past life commitment to one another to find each other in this lifetime so that you had a community, because you understand the flow of which you vibrate at as individual light beings. So this is beautiful. It's rare to see twin flames find each other.
Normal person lost in the mundane world, not really believing in much of anything. And then, boy, I somehow had that science-minded side of my head blown because of my sister and what she does. So my sister, she hangs out with Thoth. He's just like her buddy. Her right hand is Metatron. And she started telling me about the Merkaba and the sacred space of the heart. And then I found Dreamglow's work. And I was like, holy crap, okay, so you guys just aren't full of it, you know? There's something real here. And that totally blew that side of my scientific, logical mind, that there was something much bigger than knowing what you know. And so that started my journey, and then come to find out my mom and my sister had been doing ghost busting for, you know, several years, and here I was very science-minded, didn't believe in any of that. And so the 6-year journey of me waking up and remembering my soul's heart's passion, and that I have been the master builder throughout many lifetimes. And so we create these tools here that are transformative, to say the least. And it has just been a fast journey, very fast, and yeah, it's just expanding more and more. So I'm very thankful to have found my own soul's passion, which is also what we do, is we help others find their soul's passion by, one, connecting their hearts to their soul and clearing out all the static in between so that they can truly manifest their soul's heart's desires.
Comes from stories from my family about me chasing orbs of light down the hallway. And then they would often tell me stories that, after I turned 6, that I would often ask where my star friends went and where they were. And from that point, it was a kind of a lonely stint in the energy of the earth in the moment of time. But life has flowed into many places, and my parents brought me Reiki, which has been a really magical tool, a very powerful tool, which has helped me connect with the earth more deeply and to the elements, and allows me to really truly be of service to my brothers and sisters on this planet. And yeah, I'm really grateful for.
Were you homeschooled, or did you go to public school?
I was homeschooled. Both my parents decided before I was born to homeschool me and my 5 younger siblings. I've never been in the public school system. My parents were very awake and aware of like microwaves, things like that. We didn't use any of that type of technology in our home to keep us clear, and have been eating a fairly healthy diet since I was young. My parents are pretty tuned in and dialed in, very ancient shamanic people. Throughout my flowing of life, I've gotten to gain many insights into the magic and gratitude that I have for my family. Because they really provided me a good experience to be grounded here in this moment in time.
Let it be an inspirational movement bridging the generation gap. And it's about creating the bridge and laying a strong foundation for our younger generation that is here, that are motivated, that are our crystal children, that are indigo children, and that are our rainbow children. They're all waiting to chomp at the bit to be living organically, off the grid, sustainable, free love. I know it sounds like way back in the 60s, but it's nothing like that. This is going to shift our world. In the meantime, they need a strong foundation. They need our support in our generation that are hybrid blue rays and hybrid green rays. And we come from the era of fluoride and aspartame, and that's all about closing down your pineal gland, and so that you're unable to support these high vibrational young children. I call them children because they're younger than me. And to support them in their journey here, because they have a huge mission, and this earth plane is actually getting ready to be birthed as a conscious planet. This is why everything is so chaotic right now. But anyway, doing this documentary will hopefully help those that are on the other side of the United States that feel like they're here for a greater purpose, but they don't know what it is. They feel like they don't have a tribe, or they don't fit in. They get involved with meth and heroin because it's a form of them having to check out because they don't fit in. And their spirit made an agreement to come here to help with this shift. So doing this documentary, if we can reach the rest of the people and create small seeds of awareness that they go, aha, I knew, I can relate with that person, I feel that way. Or I've been looking for my tribe and I didn't know this existed. I've been doing this all alone at home on my internet. So this is also, it's a wave. It's like standing at the end of the pool and dropping that little ripple of water and then just letting it spread on its own. But it's not me, it's all of us. This is about us that's going to bring this, hopefully, nationwide. Would love to go around the world interviewing people of how they felt their greater purpose was in this life. How did they know their greater purpose was? And then were you also put on medication? Were you told you had some sort of mental disability up there, or that you were, have floating on illusions? You're looking at me in a human form, but this is just my meat suit. This is just what houses my life. So, but it's the light that I'm here to help bring in. There's many of us out here, and if we can all connect, my goodness, we'll have a bright future ahead of us. Free water for everybody, free energy for everybody. We'll have harmony and peace. If you'd love to be interviewed, give me a call at 760-845-6643. I'm Leslie Ann, healeroflight.com, LESLIEANE, healeroflight.com, 760-845-6643. Make a beautiful day.